welcome to this evening's Mindshare. Our guest today is the multi-talented Robin Piper. Today we're going to be discussing his creative journey and how he uses transformative tools and art to both heal himself, uplift underserved communities, and create ecological awareness around climate crisis. Piper has a master's in community-based multicultural social justice therapy, experienced art therapist, is a professional artist, a muralist, graphic designer, art teacher, a circus performer, and he is also the wonderful soul who has brought us the artwork for the Spectrum Retreats as well. So it's with our great honor today we welcome in Robin Piper. Welcome, brother.
Robin, brother.
There we go.
Hey, hey.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Welcome
How are you?
to Mindshare, Robin.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the introduction. That was beautiful. Appreciate you.
Definitely.
We appreciate you, brother. You're a beautiful human. Thank you for all that you do for the collective and for people individually. For those people that don't know you, would you help us to share, what your mission and journey has been and how it's brought you here to the Spectrum and all the things?
Yeah, the full spectrum, the creative spectrum, the healing spectrum, all the gamut. Yeah, I guess that's kind of a open-ended, broad spectrum question, but try to focus that down like a prism. I guess to distill it, it would be really to focus it back to art, creation, expression, healing, both people and the planet, and animals, cats included. He wanted me to remind you. He might make an appearance. This is actually going to be a co-interview. My cat Joujua is ever present. Good reminder of these things. Let's see if he wants to join more properly.
Yes.
She's the painting cat, right?
He does paint, yeah, or at least join me for my paint missions.
Right. Or she's a neck warmer.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm not wearing a scarf, I got him on my side. He's always got my back too. That's important.
It's really important. You always need somebody to watch your back.
It's true.
Yeah. So I've seen pictures of you actually painting, and then the cat puts his hand her hand right on your hand while you're painting.
Legitimately.
So how much of your artwork do you attribute to the cat?
I mean, I think the cat is about 2 years old, and I'd say every single piece I've created has some sort of blessing from the cat. Whether he's on my shoulders while I'm working, or laying on my page, or trying to eat my paintbrush, or one of the four,
or all of the four.
Yeah, all of the above and below. Yeah, he's ever present, but it's a good reminder of anything that comes at you, you just kind of work with it. He wants to walk on my shoulder and sit on my shoulders, and I'm like, it's not going to phase me. It's not going to shift my moves and my lines. So,
right.
It's
a good dance between healthy boundaries, and he knows not to scratch you and have, he has a soft paw when he's on your shoulder or things like that. That's cool.
Exactly. He definitely, he's trained. He knows my boundaries.
Well, let's talk about that. You have a certain set of skills that is pretty unique, and that's kind of like communicating and art therapy. And tell us kind of more about that and how that works.
Yeah. I'll tie that answer in with kind of the origin story, maybe, just to kind of finish out that thought and that question. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm blessed enough and privileged to come from a family full of artists, and that was a huge blessing that allowed me to really step into the concept of just even having art as an option as a productive, viable means of work or profession or whatever you want to call it, or passion. And so I've been cultivating my art since I was 2, basically. It's like how the story goes. And then early on, I've always been interested in like more of like a healing, therapeutic, emotionally intelligent kind of way of being. And so I've always gravitated towards, helping folks, being the kind of the shoulder to cry on or the ear to listen. And as a result, I kind of fuse those two worlds together through my studies and through my experience of making art, and then channeling that into art therapy. So I went to school for therapy, I went to school for art, and then eventually I went to school for both.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like it was almost like I was watching it and I was hearing like kind of like the old Sesame thing. It was like art therapy, art therapy.
Nice. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's like,
And you combine it so well. Like, give us an example of what art therapy is.
sure. So, I mean, technically the practice I typically use is expressive arts therapy, which really encapsulates the whole spectrum of art, spectrum, Zoltan spectrum. The whole spectrum of art, from dance to poetry to singing to music to, oh yeah, you got to join the scarf game.
God, dude, I can't believe I forgot.
Apparently that's part of the dress code.
You guys got the memo.
Yeah, we scarf it up. So anyway, so it's the full spectrum of the creatives, and it's important to remember that because basically each one gives you a different like snapshot or like look into your inner workings of who you are and like emotions and relationships and stuff. So to walk you through it, I mean, like we might start by you just drawing a line that represents your life's ups and downs. And then I'll have you take that, share about it, check in about it, and then we'll have you dance it out and embody it and like turn that into some free form dance. And then you'll play drums to that free form dance to like give it a soundtrack, and and just like each layer kind of just like overlays on top of one another like a spectrum, and then it just like becomes the full view, the full vision of who you are. And
from a thought, right, to an alchemization onto paper or through a movement or through speaking, or right, it's like you're creating an experiential therapy, right? That's like it's completely immersive and absolutely beautiful. And do you find yourself taking certain like kind of prescriptive things for people, or is it kind of do you have like different methods that you kind of apply as you're talking with people? Is it more fluid, right? Then
it's more fluid. I mean, there's definitely plenty of ways of doing it. I personally will tend to lean towards what's called either eclectic or it has a few different names, but the idea is to take different modalities based on what you're hearing in the room or like feeling from the person that would really evoke what they're having a block with expressing, and honestly, I do a lot of talk therapy too, and I do a lot of different other modalities that are not art necessarily related or expressive art. So, if someone needs more of a worksheet sort of thing, we can do that. But I always try to like interweave a more creative, expressive, and like visceral experience, because I think so often it's easy to get in the head space and the mind space without really like dropping into the body or the heart and the like feelings of things. So that's what I'm constantly trying to redirect and encourage folks to remember and go back to.
Yeah. It's basically, I love what you do. We've talked about this before, and basically you really integrating it into your daily life is the key, and not just having it on paper and looking at it as a worksheet, but actually feeling it, feeling what it would be like to do it, and then doing it, right? And that's huge. And I think getting it from your mind's eye, that imagination, and writing it out in any form, and I like that's what you do, and it's like there's no wrong, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And everyone's their own, you know, expert on themselves. So just encouraging them to like take whatever's in there floating around that they might be looking the other way at, and once you, like you were saying, Jason, like put it on paper or like act it out, it feels a little bit more real. It feels more tangible, like you can kind of work with it. Or
it reminds me of like any kind of like spiritual healing, you know, where it's just the act of getting it out of your being is sometimes the greatest healing for anyone, right? It's just to share that experience with somebody else and to remove it, because it will fester as like a physical manifestation somewhere in your being, you know, if you don't get it out of you. And so I love that you use so many different methods within there to draw out the little particles that might still be existing somewhere in your vessel somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, that's the way I'm seeing it. It's a beautiful thing you do, brother. And you have so many tools at your disposal, and you trained yourself so well, and you're always out and about in the community, painting artworks and murals. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your mural work and the ecological awareness and the cultural art that you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I guess like since my master's program, that was a really pivotal spot in my life where I had a lot of really humbling blind spots shown to me, both in my privilege and privileges as like a white cis male and this society and things, as well as tapping into environmentalism, ecology, and both the social impacts and future impacts on future generations and how things will most likely change. So those became, out of that like humbling, beautiful, transformative realizations and things, I have realized that it's important for me to shift my focus from some of my previous paths of whatever I was creating into both bringing awareness in to the environment, as well as social justice issues, whether it's race related or you know, human trafficking, emotional intelligence, and like mental health awareness. So many different like things that I think, you know, it's anyone can paint a pretty picture. And now that I have skills enough to paint and create and sculpt and whatever, perform, now it feels more important than ever to use those tools to create awareness and create visuals or whatever to really illuminate and elicit reaction and awareness around all these important issues that, you know, I think are so dear to my heart. So
do you think you would call it intentional art then? Would that be
that's a way to, totally. There's, I think, tons of names and different ways you could,
but like it's
it, but totally
like your intention's pretty true, and you're doing it for that reason of the healing about the art, right? It's not just a picture. Like that's a picture of my dream house, or that was a picture of me when I was a kid, and I remember that, and now I'm healing from whatever it was, you know.
Totally. Yeah, cool. Definitely intention. Yeah, putting intention, more intention, direction, passion, and purpose into art. You know, a lot of times in my actual therapy sessions, however, I am more just about the process. It doesn't actually matter what the image looks like. It's about the experience of making and creating. And maybe it gives you a little insight when you look at it, the final piece. But oftentimes I find that the actual process is more illuminating than the piece itself. But that being said, that's like more the art therapy side of things, whereas the more professional artist and illustrator side of things, it does matter what the final product looks like, because I'm trying to convey a message. I'm trying to inspire the viewer to care or to be aware about these things that are ever present. And yet, I think with so many distractions and ways to kind of avoid things in the world today, it's important to redirect through beauty, through art, through, you know, entertainment, but redirect our focus to what really matters.
Beautiful, brother. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. One of
like
your
wellness art, it's like wellness for the best. I mean, art for the best good. Like I love it, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
it's a beautiful thing that you do, and it's been such an honor to work with you on the retreat artwork, right? And if you don't mind, I would love to share it and just show people who, if maybe they haven't seen it.
Yeah, maybe we can like pick it apart a little bit and ask you what each thing means.
Sure. Yeah, we can do
So
that.
speaking of intentional art, I mean, wow. Piper and I approached Piper with a small idea of what I thought would be kind of cool, and he came back with this. And it's just, Piper, please explain your thought process in creating this.
So, I mean, yeah, when we were first coming up with the vision for the Spectrum retreat, a lot of things that came up were obviously like healing modalities. So like the hands are like cupped in a way of like support and supportive healing. Also, we're on, you know, Native American land, obviously, the Kumeyaay. And I think it's important to highlight the ancestors that came before us. Also, like, encourage more. I think it'd be great to encourage more of them to join into the fold of Spectrum, because it's important to get more representation and just inclusion of all the different walks of life and stuff. But originally that was the vision when we first talked, is to have this really diverse, inclusive community of healers. And so I thought, like, you know, some of the most original healers are, at least on this land, is the Kumeyaay. And so I referenced that for the hands, cupping and holding the earth and support. So it's just like, you know, using our healing modalities and different ways of curing and healing and encouraging growth of people. So it's like cupping the earth supportively as well as healing it. Yeah, and then also it's the earth seed is very much like a seed in this depiction, where it's planting, like there's growth, new growth coming out from it, and wrapping around it is this full spectrum kind of a rainbow road of light. And the idea is that it you know, it's this upward uplifting growth that is channeling through the core of the earth, out of our vision and into reality, growing into like the tangible form. I even threw some DNA in the center there to kind of like hark back to the fact that we're it's like innately in us and instinctually in us to tap back into these elemental roots, and then grow from there. So also that we were planning on having a dome and things, so the earth is half a dome as well, because we were going to do the full immersive dome, and I think we'll still do that in future events.
Yeah, that's absolutely coming.
So those were some of the basic like overview of some of the stuff. There's some little subtle details and different choices other than that, but I think that gives you a pretty good picture.
It's just magical, brother. And every time I look, I get sucked into its essence of what it is, you know, and it's echoed a lot by everyone who sees it. Beautiful. They go, wow. Like it portrays so much feeling and so much meaning, and the way that you brought together all the elements, like you just walked us through. I mean, it's just such magic, brother. You have such a talent.
I also feel like they're big, strong Kumeyaay hands but they're gentle and they're for good and they're strong for good. So it's like the correct masculine holding Mother Earth very gently and mindfully, and then that's how we really grow, right? And it's like it makes you feel all warm.
Yeah, the masculine is activating the space with the divine feminine to play and to create, and it's, I mean, yeah, you must have thought of that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's all there. It's a
it all comes through the channel.
full spectrum of gender and masculinity and femininity and everything in between and everything on the outer limits of the spectrum. So it's important to, I feel like this is definitely a piece
it's
that
a perfect
really
depiction of what spectrum retreats and spectrum healers retreats are. Like it just feels like, yep, that says it right there.
Might I say a timeless piece that will we live in history forever as the first ever artwork for Spectrum, and it's just magic, brother. And I love how you bring up the rainbow bridge, because the Spectrum logo here, and we've talked about this maybe on the show, but the Spectrum logo is actually a representation of the third eye bridging from the 3D to the 5D, the rainbow bridge, the Anta Karana, is what it's called. And so that symbol, you know, it's like that is the ascension of our third eye, and that is the mission that we're kind of on. We're here to heal every heart and every mind, brother. And you've just captured this. It comes with moving with the earth, right? Listening to the earth and the healing that's happening there, and then keep providing and activating those spaces. So, it's just wonderful, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
thanks for walking us through your process and doing that. It's always such a cool thing to get into the mind of the creator, you know, and you create so much, man. Like I've seen you paint on stilts. I've seen you do live art at festivals. What we don't like at retreats and festivals. Like what's your favorite expressive art therapy for yourself? You know, other than just painting, I'm sure, but like
I mean, I think painting is like nearest and dearest to my heart and long lasting. I also think that dancing of any sort, whether it's on stilts or on silks or on the ground, is like one of the most rewarding, just because it's like such a full body experience. And it's also usually like a beautiful union with whatever music is also being expressed. So, I mean, there's like, I think it's kind of a tie between my first love, which is painting and art, and then the like more recent, relatively, stepping into dance.
That's cool. Yeah, and I see the aerial rigs back there. You have those string up in your apartment, right? And you practice often then? You use them often?
Yeah, almost daily,
cool.
to some extent. But it's also it's probably my newest form of art that I've cultivated. I've only been training for the last maybe year or so. Okay. So that's been a fun new venture.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Embodiment practice.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to come over and try it sometime. What pieces are you working on lately? Do you have anything that's in your creation station that you're excited about, that you want to talk about?
I have a few unfinished pieces. I have a few pieces I just finished. I could give you some sneak peeks or something if you're interested.
Oh, you would honor us with a sneak peek? Yeah.
Peeks, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you want to, brother.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm working right now with a few different organizations, but one of which is called Wild Coast, and every year they have a huge fundraiser. It's a wildlife ocean conservatory, and they do like a big silent auction fundraiser stuff. And so I have a few in the works for that I'm starting, and then I have a few for Spectrum that I'm playing around with. So let me grab a couple and I'll see what I got.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's always so cool when you get to dive into an artist's brain. What's that?
I was going to say, if anyone has any questions for Piper, we're going to open up Q&A a little bit later here, and you can either raise your hand or type the question in and we can read it for you, or we can bring you on camera to speak to Piper directly.
Nice. So let's see what I got. The thing is, I'm pretty prolific in how much I paint and create, but I don't actually post that much. So
I know that.
you know, that's part of the process. So there's a lot of little sneak peeks that I could show you that no one's seen before, really. This is one that I'm making for Spectrum. This was like a rough draft, but I think I'm going to do something along this line for the Mindshare that we're on right now. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's basically chrysanthemum, like third eye, brain unfurling, blooming. The idea I think I'll change is I'll make this the full color spectrum. So it'll be like a rainbow, like spectrum.
Rainbow blooming.
Rainbow lotus flower brain.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Wow. There you see it. The new Mindshare on the Mindshare.
There you go.
Yeah. Katie says, wow, that mind picture is amazing. I love it. The rainbow lotus is a cherry on top. She said, yes.
Totally. A technicolor cherry on top.
That's
I like
right.
it. This one's one of my most recent, like just personal art therapy things for my own self. And it was like about my heart and mind's connection and feeling like the emotions of loss and how they kind of tears fall down into the earth, felt into the heart, and then create new growth in awareness and insight of the mind. So this was after a recent loss that I've had.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things here. I don't know what else.
Sorry for your loss, brother.
We can sneak peeks. Oh, the conservatory. Wait, no, that's over here. I'll be right back.
He's giving us all a good. I love it.
Piper is just one of the coolest individuals, and you know the second you meet him that you can talk to him about just about anything, and he's gonna make you feel good just by talking to him. You're like, it's hard not to feel good after talking to you, brother.
Oh, that's sweet, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
it's great. Well, it's always rare to meet people that that meet you, you know, from a third eye and from a heart center and from a solar plexus all at the same time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so a lot of time you're going to get a small conversation with somebody, and it's going to be a solar plexus connection. And then you know, your relationships with your friends and your family is more of a heart. And then those soulmates, those people that you really connect with. And yeah, when conversing with you, you really engage with people on all levels. It's almost like, well, because you are so aware of yourself and what you are, and you're being really aware of what in other people too, and it's really apparent. And yeah, so you just are, and the way that you talk about what you do, man, it's just you're just a healer through and throughout, and you're doing this with all the love and intention, and it just shines through in your work. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you, man. That's I feel very humbly gracious for that feedback. That means a lot coming from you and just in general. I'm able to receive that. I appreciate you.
Piper you're like one of the most refined people that I've met in my life, for sure. And like, I appreciate everything you do, because it's super, you are aligned, your heart and intention and mind is aligned, and a lot from that. And your patience is impeccable, and your poise, and that's huge. And for social wellness, which I'm big on, is like, it's a very good example, and I appreciate that.
I'm touched. I'm really touched by both of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. And so it feels good to get that feedback, because I think that's my intention, you know. And so often people's impact isn't actually the same as their intention. And so it feels good that how I'm portraying and how I'm interacting also harks back to what I really feel and is important. And so thank you. Appreciate that.
Brother, you've unlocked something. You've unlocked your inner creator, right? Like your infinite creator is flowing with the cosmos and it's with your art, you know? And so I love how you brought earlier, you brought in that just the simple act of doing the drawing, doesn't, you know, not necessarily what the outcome is, right?
Yeah,
And I am just like, that is like one of my biggest realizations in life was that it's by taking, it's the action in which alchemizes the situation. It's not
totally.
the idea of what it could be that,
No.
you know, if you have your intentions skewed, you will always find something else comes through into that idea. But as
Totally.
creators, we know, right, that the intention and the patience of letting it materialize in your head, the idea and the thought that you want to portray, and sometimes it's not even as conscious as we might think, you know, it's sometimes it just goes, right? It's
Yeah.
just,
Especially if you're in a
coming
flow
through you.
state. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're just like channeling and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think arguably, when we are so fixated on the final outcome of something, whether, you know, it's an art piece or any sort of thing really in life, even a relationship or whatever, if we're so fixated on what we want it to become, then we're not actually present in the moment to see the little unexpected things that arise and work with them and incorporate them into the piece. Like so many of my pieces, I will have mistakes or things that I didn't anticipate or missed up on, and they come in and I graciously incorporate those. And sometimes that's the like kind of catalyst or unexpected spontaneity that really actually shifts the whole painting into a new direction. And it ends up being like my favorite part half the time.
Yeah.
But if I were to like be cemented in my ways and not flexible, then I would try to like erase it and like, you know, you'd like scratch off the, you know, canvas just trying to get it to be what you thought it should be. But in so doing, it will probably undermine the bigger vision. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that what you just said can be applied to all situations, right?
Totally.
Like all situations. And what we do, because you have a beautiful physical way to express it and teach others how to do so. But we do this in all of our thoughts and all of our goals, all of our personal training, all of our ego-driven things and everything, you know, our ego, you know, we think our ego drives those situations a lot of the time. And it's just about keeping it in line with the intention like we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for bringing that through, Piper. That's beautiful. Piper, you know, anybody who wants to work with Piper, he offers one-on-one expressive arts therapy courses, one-on-one art classes or art performances, or you can do group as well. So you can find him through our website on Spectrum Healers. Piper is also offering logo and brand identity design. So you've seen our Piper's work. You can imagine what you can do with your logo. So I just wanted to let everybody know that you have some of those offerings on our site, and then I'm sure you offer much more through your own offerings as well. So if you guys want access to Piper, you know where to find him, and he'll definitely be at the next retreat in October.
That's right.
Yes, you will, in October 15th to the 17th in Julian, California this year. Yeah, gonna be a spectacular time. We have some of the core people from the last time coming, and we have a bunch of new speakers. And like you said, we actually just talked with Global Healing Exploration, a name drop, and they have a whole list of healers they've been working with in Mexico and Turkey and China and across the world. And that really is a part of the bigger picture that we've been all talking about is to continue to incorporate all the people with the highest intentions and the best, and you know, and all the skillful healers that exist across the world, and really uniting them and bringing them here together. And we get to
giving a voice to the folks that maybe don't always get as loud of a voice or have less privileges or whatever, and you know, raising them up in an equity sort of way and inclusion, and you know, everyone, I feel like everyone's lived experience, especially hardships, actually usually funnel into a better, more well-rounded ability to heal and or offer health and like awareness. And
doesn't it, I mean, you could almost say that a lot of the healers in the world became healers because of the healing they did for themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I can say that from experience. Like,
yeah,
it's through the processes and the meditations and the intentions that I've set for myself that I've learned how to help others with it. You know, it's like, and that's how we all learn, right? We learn
Really?
personal experience. That's such
So
a
you
cool
got to go
thing.
through the
It makes us
coil of
stronger,
life.
right? We think it. We think all the pain and the suffering and the hardships because it's a part of a bigger divine picture that we can't understand here. We need to express it in different ways, right? We gotta express it through.
Yeah, it's like the bigger picture for sure.
Yeah.
So Piper will be there doing some live art, and I'm thinking maybe I can possibly put you on the spot because it just hit me, and we are going to be opening a really cool spoken word and open mic section. And could we maybe persuade you to host that for us?
I would be down unless there's someone else that feels more called or
I would love
is more deserving, but I'm definitely down. Spoken word is something near and dear to my heart.
I know.
But yeah, I could also think of a few other cats that also excel at it and maybe don't get as much.
Well, yeah, let's make a little team. Yeah,
let's spread the love around, man. Let's bring it.
But if nothing else, I'm always happy to fill in blanks, and that sounds fun.
Yeah, Piper is also probably one of the most talented wordsmiths I've ever known. I didn't your text and come through in the most coolest ways. The way that you see
fun.
words and see them, how they pop out different words inside of them. You always capitalize them in your text. I love that about you, by the way.
Nice.
I just want to share with everybody that Piper is the coolest wordsmith, and he will find the most creative way to say anything.
The funny thing, it's funny that you use the word wordsmith because for when I do spoken word, my like kind of poetic name is Words Myth. So it's like words and MYTH.
This is what we're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Case in point, yeah, you set me up, but unintentionally, I guess. It's that unintentional wordplay.
Unintentional, yeah.
Intentional.
Oh, dude, I love you. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I love you all. Brother. Yeah, it's been great to be here and share a little bit and chat with y'all. I miss you guys.
Yeah, we'll download soon and invite everyone to come down and see us all at the retreat and join us for all the activities, and it's gonna be rad. I appreciate you, brother, so much for all that you do in the community and as a friend and just as a person in general, and much to learn from you, and keep up the good work for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of the crew, and it feels right. It feels good. I feel inspired, and definitely excited to see the new directions we all kind of grow this thing towards.
It's reaching to the skies, and then it's coming right back down into the earth, and we're doing it one step at a time. And it's like it's just the action that changes us all, and it's the action that inspires and brings about the collective change. And so thank you, Piper, for what you're doing and what you continue to do. And it is our honor to host you and to be working with you. So thank you to you, and thank you to everyone on the call tonight and to watching the replay. And we'll see you all very soon at the next Mindshare next week.
Beautiful.
Piper, all the love to you, and brother.
Yeah, love you all, and love everyone that witnesses this and everything in the future and currently. I'm happy to connect with you all and everyone digitally later. So thank you for including
We'll digit you later.
All right. To every heart, every mind, you guys, we put our hands up and send out the love. Every heart and every mind.
Thank you, guys.
What they need. Love you guys.
Much love. Thank
Much
you.
love, Ron.
Thank you.
All the love, brother.
Mhm.
Peace.
Ciao from Meow. Peace.
Bye for meow. He's a cool cat.